Hey guys, this is Justin Bob 100 here, and here is a very important guide video for theming in Platform Racing 2 levels. Now, if you were like me about 3 years ago, you would have thought that theming was basing something around art, or just having a lot of art in a level based around some sort of location or place or something of the sort. And while that can be theming, really, theming is a little bit more complicated, but it's still pretty easy to understand. Now, theming actually involves three different aspects to level making, alright? The first one obviously being art, second one being blocks and block designs, kind of not necessarily the blocks that you interact with, but the ones that you look at and kind of structural things. Like if I were to make a tower and have little designs in it made from blocks, that would be a good idea for theming with blocks. And the third one being gameplay mechanics, like basing something around, let's say if you're in a factory and you want there to be a lot of speed, putting a lot of arrow blocks would be a gameplay mechanic for it. Now, let's backtrack a bit, okay? Because I'm kind of throwing a lot of information all at once. Now, you might still be wondering, what is theming? Well, I think a better word for theming is unification. Now, unification is taking an idea, concept, word, usually location, let's say water, okay? And basing these three concepts, or two of the three concepts, around that idea. Alright, for example, art. If I have a water level, I'm going to want to unify the level with waves and water, okay? That makes it have a sense of flow. No, but really, like, it has a sense of, it's less random. It's based around a certain thing. Any video game that you will play does this same concept, and this is technically a video game. Blocks, well, usually waves are on a beach, so I'm going to use a lot of sand or waffle blocks. All right, lots of waffle blocks and maybe some water. But I kind of want to do this. What can be considered blocking and block design is this gradual decrease in elevation for the water. That's a good example of block design. All right. And the third one, gameplay mechanics. Now this is a little bit harder, but for this example it's pretty easy because water has some pretty cool gameplay mechanics to it. Now if I want the player to, let's say they fall down here. Now using this water, they're able to propel themselves upward and maybe get over this obstacle from doing so. Alright, that's a gameplay mechanic. Or gameplay mechanics can also be as easy as just having an item. Alright, let's say I want to have a speed burst in a level. That is a gameplay mechanic, okay? Gameplay mechanics are they're like the biggest part of it, and in my opinion, the most important. But it seems like a lot of people have really good gameplay. So why even focus on gameplay mechanics? And why not just art and blocks? Well, you can do that, but honestly, I feel like the most effective thing, if you're not too confident in your gameplay, is to unify it around a certain concept. Now, this is important, all right? Generally, if you want a successful level, you want to have two of the three of these methods. So you want to have, like, for example, art and blocks. That's two. Not my favorite choice if you're not confident in gameplay, but you can also do blocks and gameplay mechanics, art and gameplay mechanics, or all three. Now, using all three is actually pretty complicated and requires a lot of work, but some of my best levels do that. And I'm actually, in a second, I'm going to go through some of my levels and show you what I mean. This is sort of, you'll get to see a little bit of how I do my levels and what I look at when I'm making a level. Alright? A little bit more in gameplay mechanics though, because it's easy to understand blocks and art, but gameplay mechanics is a little weird. Now, as you can see, water here is the focus, okay? So that means I might want to might want to make the rest of the level be based off of water. Let's say waves. That works. I can also base the level off of, well, I already said speed, but maybe even block height. Let's say, a lot of levels just kind of go up by one, maybe two blocks, like that. Maybe I want to make it a little less natural and make the player have to time their jumps a little better. By making different block heights, that's a gameplay mechanic, okay? Other gameplay mechanics, I already mentioned arrow blocks. Bomb and net jumps also work as gameplay mechanics. Rotations, vanish block jumps, pretty much anything is considered a gameplay mechanic. But the most important thing is you don't want to use too many gameplay mechanics, okay? I see a lot of levels that I review, a lot of them just want to throw everything in, and everything just seems awesome, just put it all in. But the problem is the level just feels ununified. Now, some levels like The Legend by Nerdy or any Thrust, I mean, those don't really have unification, but they work. And the reason they work is because they focus on one thing and they do it really well. Legend by Nerdy, it focuses on gameplay and it does it really well. But here's a problem. It's really hard to sell a show if you're focusing on one thing, just one thing, okay? Here's a really good example I have for this, okay? Let's take a look at movies, alright? Now, movies have a lot of different elements to them. They have sound, music, acting, visuals, special effects, camera angles, camera shots, lighting, visual, I don't know, art style, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, though, going into it. Now, let's just say you kind of pulled all that apart and you took a movie, let's say a silent film. Now, silent films have to focus on lighting. They take away sound pretty much. There's no music, voices, none of that. It's just camera shots, lighting, visuals, and that's about all you can do with it. Now, these silent films really have to push the envelope because they don't have as many things going on in them. So if something's unsuccessful, it's pretty obvious, and they can't really cover it up very well. And that's sort of the same thing with level making. If you focus a level just on blocks, there's a problem, because if the blocking isn't that good, or it doesn't push it all the way, it's not going to work. And honestly, when you're given the option, would you rather have blocks or blocks and art? Most people would say blocks and art. And the same thing goes with gameplay mechanics and art, or gameplay mechanics and blocks. It works better when there's more going on. You're able to cover up flaws easier. Because if I just have semi-good art, semi-good blocks, semi-good gameplay mechanics, the level is much better than just having good blocks. If that makes sense. It's hiding it, okay? And that's why movies today, they have all this, they have sound. With sound and like special effects like CGI, they're able to do a lot more with it, and it works. It's harder setting it up, but it's more successful in the long run. Now I'm going to go through some of my levels, and I'm going to show you what combination I use in each of them to give you guys an idea of what you could do as well. Alien World focuses on art and blocks and really doesn't unify the gameplay. Now, although vanish blocks are pretty prevalent in this map, that really goes more along the lines of the blocks and the blocking, because it focuses on the greenery. Now, going through this level, you'll see it just throws in a lot of different gameplay things, but it works because it unifies the art and the blocks. Now, the blocks being the vanishes and the rocky terrain, and the fact that it changes the elevation a lot. That is all blocking stuff. And the art really focuses on greenery and these monsters. You'll see leaves and grass, and pretty much all the monsters are also green. The background's green. Projectiles are green. I mean, everything is based around this concept of greenery and the rockiness of the blocks. Xenon Towers focuses on art and gameplay mechanics. Now, although the art was more of an afterthought, it is pretty prevalent and it is decent. And it definitely unifies the towers and make them feel more, make each individual tower feel more, more interesting, more dynamic. Now, the gameplay elements are very prevalent. You see a lot of, although there's a lot of different things, the idea is you're going up, and that's really what it focuses on. And the gameplay is pretty similar throughout, with its tight, compact obstacles. Greenhouse focuses on block design and gameplay mechanics. The art is not very prevalent in this map, and it really, I mean, there is some art for the buildings, but it really isn't the focus. The focus is on really mainly the gameplay mechanics. But what I mean by block design for this is you see a lot of the silver block and the arrow blocks, but you also see this sort of tower idea going on here. And as you can see that, and you don't necessarily interact with that, but it is there, and it makes it feel more like the theme that it's going for, which is kind of a greenhouse. And for the gameplay mechanics, the big one is the water, and also the combination of water and arrow blocks. And that's what really sort of unifies it. And another thing that's pretty important to note with theming is repetition is very effective if you want to theme around something, because it reinforces the idea that you're trying to convey, this theme that you're going for. Now, seeing this plant thing here, alright, you do it once, alright, that's cool. But this time you do it another time, but it's from a different angle. And that makes it feel more real and like you're actually going through it, because that makes sense that you'd see the same thing twice in an area based around one theme. Now, the third way to theme a level, or not the third, but the fourth way to theme a level is by using all three. This level uses the gameplay mechanics of multiple paths throughout, giving the opportunity to go one way or the other. The art is themed around kind of an island beach theme, and the block design sort of goes along with the art. You'll see water and water blocks and water sections, palm trees with, for example, right here, based around the like the alternating basic blocks, and then the vanish blocks contributing at the top that don't necessarily affect the gameplay, and just the different elevations and how everything sort of is trying to look like an island based on the blocks. And this is considered one of my more successful levels because it uses all three of these concepts so well. Now, for the last part of the video, I'm going to show you something that I made to represent this theming idea. Now, the art is a little bit crappy, but since it's October, I thought it'd be appropriate to do sort of a haunted, spooky themed kind of thing. So I'm just going to go through this and explain everything and why it works. Now, obviously the art unification has to do with the trees, and the background kind of has a dark theme to it, theming around Halloween. Alright? For the blocking, it uses basic block 1 for the ground and basic block 3 for the trees. And all the trees are the same basic block, so that's how it's themed block-wise. And gameplay-wise, it kind of, well, I'll just play it and show you. Oops. The music's a little loud. I'm just gonna turn it down. Alright, so it focuses on using this sword to get through these obstacles. It really focuses on kind of elevation, because a lot of it is going up and down. And it works. And another thing to note is the gameplay is relatively simple. That's pretty important too with making levels, not necessarily for theming, but just for level making in general. Let's say I want to do a little bit more background stuff, just so I can actually do some stuff on screen. Alright, so usually what I do for lightning is I'll take this like dark color and I'll just kind of... Oh, I need a black background. Perfect. I take kind of lightning idea of... Yeah. Alright, and I have that. And then I take... I think it's... Take one of these yellow colors. Let's just go with this one. And I just draw... I kind of trace it. The more jagged, the better. And also have little spokes coming out of the... off the lightning, the main rod of the lightning. To make it look a little bit more real. Alright, and then I'm going to put little flashy white, flashy stuff around it to make it more lightning-y. Alright, perfect. And that also reinforces the kind of spooky theme of the level. And if I was actually making or gonna continue this level, I would keep doing more lightning and extend the lightning all the way up. And also, I would never make a level with this crappy of tree art, so don't judge me. But yeah, I hope this video helped you guys for theming. I think I'm going to make a second part of this video, and I'm going to focus on more showing you how to make a level. I might just go through and even like possibly extend this level and really accentuate the art and make it seem more like how I make levels. Or I might actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video of me making a level, but not like all of it. And I think that would help. I think that'd be pretty helpful because I can talk about what I'm doing while I'm doing it to help you guys out. So thank you for watching, and just remember to theme your levels by unifying it with art, gameplay, and block design. This is Justin Bob 100 signing out.